Our journey started out well before daylight. This is a journey we've waited 50 years to go on. This is our 50th anniversary, and we're heading for the big island of Hawaii. The sun is just coming up as we're well underway in the skies high over the mainland. In several hours, we finally touched down on the big island of Hawaii. We rented a car and we brought all of our camping gear in a suitcase, so we'll camp at the beach parks, right at this historical park near Spencer Campground. We have the chance to camp right beneath a huge mesquite tree. These mesquites aren't indigenous to Hawaii. They were brought in by the missionaries, but wow, have they grown to be giants. We get our bed made and our tent up just before the sunset. Since we're camped right on the beach, we have an uninterrupted view of one of the best sunsets you might ever see. Marge even goes out in the water to test that nice warm water as the sun gently sinks down below the horizon. A sailboat majestically makes its way across the sunset as it catches a gentle breeze and sails on out of sight. This is one of many reasons why we prefer camping out in the campgrounds right on the beach. The Hilton doesn't offer a view like this, I don't think. The Hawaiian people are just as comfortable at sea as we are on land. They're always out and they're great swimmers. Right at this site, the ocean is very calm and very warm for swimming. The next morning, we're up bright and early, and we're going to take a hike down the historical park. We just get started walking down the trail. I've got a new camera, and I didn't realize I didn't have it shut off.
Careful. What'd you do, Tom?
I just fell down.
You want me to help you up? What'd you do? You okay?
Yeah.
What happened to your hand? Darn it. Is your camera still on? You shut your camera off. Wait a second. Does it shut off when you close it? Can you take a look and see if your camera... Do you have any idea what caused you to fall? Did you hit that rut?
Could be. Here, take the camera.
Well, did you hurt yourself?
No.
How do you feel?
Okay.
What happened to your hand? Did you just get one of those cramps in it?
Yeah.
Huh? You couldn't get your hand straightened out? But I think right there you tripped.
You okay?
Yeah.
Your hand or anything?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just
I saw you fall, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what he did right here, he came off the.
Lost your foot in.
Yeah,
Your
I
ankle twist or
think it was just a little drop off right here.
Yeah.
I think I'm all right.
Okay. Yeah, just take a breather. roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Let me know if you guys need a hand. I'm right over here.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Were you taking pictures of the ocean?
No, I wasn't taking pictures at all. I was just walking along.
Oh, and you went off this where there's no sidewalk.
To the right, I guess. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, I just fell down.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Get my,
Trying to get your balance now?
Yeah. He skinned up his elbow,
Let's see.
but I think he's going to be okay.
Oh, my.
and
Yeah.
I dislocated my little finger, but I just pulled it. I think it's going to be okay.
You should
Yeah.
probably go wash this off.
Yeah, he should.
You know, I wouldn't be walking around just yet. You
Yeah.
probably should go wash it off and then just go sit down for a while.
I think
Yeah.
that'd probably be best.
Yeah.
Probably by
it's-
10.
It's 9:15. I
Yeah,
bet you by 10 they're open.
I would guess so.
I'll bet you.
I looked back at the spot where I fell, and the trail is eroded off, and I just stepped off the edge. I assess the situation and decide that we can continue on without even having to go to a doctor. I had a compound dislocation of my little finger, which I fixed, and a sprained ankle, which I can hobble around okay. So we head to Wainema. We check out the brands under one of the sculptures at Wainema, the ranch brands. Then through the banana fields in the nice ranch and farmland over around Hilo. From Hilo, we take a narrow, windy road to Lava Tree Forest, where at one time the lava flowed out in this valley, and it hardened around the trees since the trees were slightly cooler. Then suddenly the earth opened up and the lava drained off, just leaving the hardened lava around the trees, which became casts. The trees then rotted and were burned out, and so it leaves a chimney-like thing. Right here is one of the holes where the lava probably drained back, and we see lots of wild chickens running around this area always. And talk about pretty flowers, they're just everywhere, and lush ferns. Since this is the rainy side of the island, it's just like a jungle. We come past our first tree cast, and it's just the absolute perfect image of the tree inside, and these are hollow where the tree once stood. You can peek right down in there and see where the bark of the tree once was, although it's covered with mosses and algae by now, and lichens. There are lots of these tree casts. Some of them are big and some of them are small. Some are from some quite large trees and others are from some smaller trees. Some have fallen and others haven't. And then, since the eruption, many new trees have grown up in the area, making it come back as almost as a jungle again. With the passing of time, several of these tree casts have toppled over, but yet they still remain true to the shape of the tree. From the tree cast, we take this windy little road down to a hot springs. This is a saltwater hot springs where the seawater somehow gets down and is heated by volcanic action. So we'll get in and test the water. It's really nice, warm salt water, and it's real buoyant. You can swim real well. And there's an extra bonus. There's even little fish in there that come up and chew the dead skin off your body. I guess they're practicing up. When they get big, they're going to be sharks and eat people. We see all sorts of different sizes and shapes of these little tropical fish. feeding on the algae which grows so well in this warmer water. A snorkel and a face mask are the way to go. That way you can get down with the fish and see them feeding without having to break the surface tension. These fish move into the hot springs area to feed. Then when they get too warm in the hot springs, they move back on out to sea and then come back to feed again. My ankle is swollen quite a bit now, about 40% bigger than the other ankle, but the hot springs makes it feel really good. And the same with my finger, it's starting to swell a little bit, and so the hot springs will help it a lot. People were super nice over here. Somebody even offered to drive us to the hospital, and others were going to call paramedics, but I told them I was going to be just fine and that we'd be going through Wainema the next day, and if I needed some medical care I could stop at the hospital. But I guess I was more or less just putting them off, 'cause this is my 50th anniversary and we're going to have a good time. And so if I need to go to a doctor, I'll wait the 2 weeks till I get home and go then, which I did. And after I went to the doctor, I found that I didn't do as good a job setting my finger as I thought I did. It was still a little bit crooked, and my ankle wasn't sprained. It was the smaller bone in the lower leg was broke completely off. So I'll get that fixed up and be going again pretty soon. This is our 50th anniversary, and I'm not about to spend it in a doctor's office or hospitals. And so I can't think of a better place to recuperate than in this hot springs, watching these pretty colorful fish. The culture was just really nice here. All the people were super nice, and I'm sure their hospitals and doctors would have been second to none, but just the same it would have taken time, and time that I couldn't afford to lose, and I would have missed out on some of these sights. If I'd have had to have a cast on my leg, I couldn't have gone in this pool and taken these shots. Around the edge of the hot springs, there are even little crabs crawling all over the rocks. I guess they like the warmness of the hot springs as well. My ankle's doing better now, so we're going to go out and do some more exploring. We're going to check out some little remote beaches. It involves hiking down a cliff to a little remote beach down below, and I can make it as long as I take it real slow and easy. I'm not keeping up with Marge very well, but I'm a real treasure like this little beach is. I guess you can't expect to have good access, or else it would be totally overrun with people. So we're going to climb down through the rocks and go to the Black Sands Beach before. Wow, what a nice place. And my ankle's holding up okay, so I'm going to be able to make it down here next to a roaring sea. Roots and vines dangle from the cliffs above, making this almost a natural amphitheater. A real natural place for a drum circle on Sunday afternoons. Pacific humpback whales offshore. They have migrated into the warmer waters off Hawaii from Alaska. where they will be able to have their young and in the warmer waters, and they make this long journey without even as much as eating one bite. By now, we're running out of fresh fruit and vegetables, so we decide to go to the farmer's market to resupply ourselves with some of those wonderful fruits and vegetables grown right here on the big island of Hawaii. The vendors are just starting to put their fresh stuff out, and Marge is bargaining for some bananas. Kind of a heavenly morning as the sunlight is penetrating the forest, shining its rays down to light the narrow winding highway. We find yet another person selling some fruits and vegetables right alongside the road. His avocados were really good, and 25 cents each, and it didn't matter how big they were.
Here's my little fish.
Yeah, I took a picture of that one.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah. Yeah, that's
It's my little joke.
Here, look at here.
That's got to be the first Hawaiian bag, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you deposit your money.
So you just get these off of your tree back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most, there's 7 acres of these trees, and I've been trying to market them for years to the grocery stores that import Hass avocados from Peru and charge all arm and a leg for them. And you know, I'm selling for 25 cents each here at the. I finally found a place to market them. That's right here.
Oh.
Now it's time for us to go back down to this little beach we found and take advantage of some of the sunshine and the roaring surf in the background. We have a lily koi that we're getting ready to cut open and eat.
Right in half?
Yeah, you cut it in half, and then he said you take a spoon or something and eat the interior of it.
Oh, dripped.
Oh, yeah. Okay, what does it look like inside? Oh,
Seeds.
he said you eat the seeds and all.
Oh. It smells good.
That night, we pitched our tent and spent the night at Mackenzie Park. It was a really nice, quiet night. We were almost the only ones here, and no one ever showed up to collect from us. We arrive at Volcanic National Park, very early in the morning, and some of the wild grouse are still out pecking alongside the road. It's supposedly the nesting season for these birds, so you have to be very careful along the highways not to run over them. We saw many of these birds out along the road, but we're up earlier than the tourists. Then we go to our first volcano and look out over a huge volcano with some steam venting through some cracks in the floor of the volcano. And some of these volcanoes have erupted in very recent times. This one's still venting plenty of steam. We can even see another volcano in the background venting steam, but due to the poison gases these volcanoes are putting out, there are some of the roads that are closed where we can't even go, but it doesn't seem to be bothering these little grouse any. They're still pecking along the road. There must be a lot of these grouse in the Volcanic National Park because we saw numerous ones crossing the road right directly in front of us. I was hoping to see an old hen with some chicks, but that never happened. Along the Volcano Highway, there are numerous pullouts where you can stand and peer over into a volcano, and each of them seem to have a different texture down in the bottom. It's still pretty early in the morning and it's a little hazy, but still you can see the unique texture of the bottom of this volcano. And there are lava flows that seem to stretch into infinity out through Volcanic National Park. And there seems to be very unique wild flowers just spreading their blossoms out every place you look, and more flows. And always more volcanoes for you to peek into, and each one is slightly different. I guess I'd have to admit that I better be honest. The real reason over in this area is these ancient Triggles. Some of these round circles were made by ancient man. This is their birthing area, and those round circles were where the umbilical cords laid out and then traced around. So one's many holes were thought to be little gaming boards, and more of the umbilical cords, and more of the humanoids, some of them even carrying a canoe paddle over the top of their heads. So these were basically fishermen. It's about a 3/4 of a mile hike into the site, and the trail isn't marked too good, just with little rock cairns. So probably it's a good idea not to go late in the day when you might have trouble finding your way back. So we're out there with plenty of light, and the trail just goes over a lot of volcanic flows where you could easily get off the trail. So it's a good idea to use some caution at this site, but it is worth every step that it takes to get out here. The site is not far from the sea, so my guess is that these people were probably mostly all fishermen. And there's designs of every kind, and they just go on and on forever in this particular area. Some very broad-shouldered humanoids, and that one I believe is maybe sitting down, and he might be paddling a canoe. And then all sorts of other designs that I'm not sure what they all mean. It took me plenty long to hobble out to this site with my bad ankle. If I'd have known it was broke, I probably wouldn't have gone out here. But I made it and made it back with no real problem. The round trip is about 1.5 miles out to the Petroglyphs over a volcanic flow. And then when you get out there, the national parks has put a walk where you can get up and walk around the site without having to walk over these very precious petroglyphs. I don't really think the average tourist goes out here very often. I think this is more for the enthusiasts that are into history and the ancient cultures, which I am definitely into. After hiking around and seeing all the petroglyphs we could see at the main site, we started back, and by looking along the trail, we even found more of them. And then we found an offering some native person has probably left at this site. And more petroglyphs over a broad area. Then we find the volcanic ropes, where this volcanic material is squeezed out through a hole, and it looks just like coils of rope. And more wildflowers. Every place you look, there are wildflowers. We just found dry stacked volcanic rock lava walls every place you go on the island. But I guess that's a good material to make fence of, and it's more permanent.